What's going on, YouTube and Y'all Squad? This is your boy Yocrates, and this is your review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 14, episode 13. A couple of things. One, if you're wondering, am I going to fill in the gaps from the last time I reviewed the show until now? No, I'm not. Also, the Whether You Like It or Not panel is going to be here at the Citadel, my place, tonight, 9:15 Eastern. 8:15 Central. Please be here. We're going to have a grand good time discussing the foolishness on this show and the Bell Collective. Pretty sure not even pretty sure we're going to have a great time. So make sure you're there. So let's get into this episode. I am going to try to bypass a lot of the minute things for the most part because the two biggest things is the end scene and what's going on with Drew and Ralph. So I'm gonna try not to dibble dabble dwell too long. All right, so we have the girls packing for the trail. One particular place that I wanted to stop at or mention, if you will, is Marlo speaking with her assistants and her talking about the boys. Like the boys will be back with her by the time she gets back from the trip or once she gets back from the trip. And even makes mention of how her sister is tired of them. And this is if I don't rag on Marlo right now, it's definitely happening tonight, but that's disgusting. And what people have to realize that, especially when you're using children as a part of your storyline, is, or even not, it's just stuff like this is cemented, like it's there, syndicated. So when these boys get older, if they haven't already been watching this show back, they're going to listen to all of this stuff that she's been saying. And do you know how that's going to make them feel to where, okay, well, Auntie Marlo didn't want us, send us over to our other aunt, and she was ready for us to leave after 30 days. Like, that is going to really put some burdens there and some mental blocks and some emotional blocks. Like, Marlo is doing more harm to these boys than I think she even realizes. I really, really hope that this was a scheme that they didn't cooked up and this ain't real, but I don't know. Anyway, we get Kenya. She's on the phone with Drew. They talk about the rules that Sonya put in place, which I get it, meant to be a funny scene, but at the same exact time, these are grown adults, right? And this is a cast trip. It would be one thing if it was an event that you're hosting and it's just the event where money is tied to it. Yeah, be on your best behavior. But because this trip is not necessarily revolving around your business venture, come on now, you're doing too much with the rules. But okay, Kenya gives us rules for hosting a party, and it was cute. But Kenya, let's not forget that you hosted a whole trip last season. Now, again, I'm gonna say this. I want to preface what I'm about to say with, I'm not gonna wait for no motherfucker to feed me. Let me just be very clear. I'm not gonna wait for nobody to do none of that. I'm gonna make sure that's taken care of. Outside of me saying that, Kenya was a little bodine for some stuff because there were times there wasn't food already, like I'm not gonna say present, but put out for the cast. And if it was, hey, there's food in the fridge, then she should have made it known, like, hey, right here, right here, right here, food will be catered. Outside of that, we have a fully stocked fridge, so if you are hungry, then you can go in there and do X, Y, and Z. Or if you want to, you can order some food. But the fact that she Uber Eats, her some crab cakes, and y'all know Candy was pissed. So it's like, it's kind of hard for you to sit here and give us the rules for, I guess, hosting an event. Okay, but yeah, you kind of fumbled the ball on that trip last year. But neither here nor there. So Kenya asks if she and Sonya are okay. Long story short, Drew says she the one that got the problem. And Kenya then lets Drew know that her cousin won't be able to come, so it's just going to be her. And she's like, I'm just telling you, I am so glad Drew caught the hint. Because last season, Kenya had mentioned something to Drew in reference to the trip. I believe that she was taking a private jet, just her, Latoya, and Brooklyn. And rather than let Kenya tell it, Drew decided to tell it to the group. And that was Kenya was testing her and whatnot. So I'm glad she caught the hint of, you know what, she's just telling me this ain't my story to tell. And if y'all hear some hissing and hoo-hawing in the back, that is my dog because she in her bag right now. I don't know what she got attitude for, but she got attitude. So if y'all can hear, blame Jazz, don't blame me. Don't look over here. Ain't nobody talking to you. Rude, careful. Anyway, Kenya lets us know that she's gonna be staying a few days after the trip is done because she's celebrating her birthday. Cool. We get Sonya Ross and her brother-in-law Tyrell. They're working out because the iFit event that they're doing. They have to look a certain way, even though for what it's worth, they're already put together. But whatever. Ross says that he hasn't talked to the guys, but he has some events planned for when the ladies start having a drama. And you have Sonya say, oh, there's not going to be no drama. And it's like, baby, I want to know what it is you smoking because the level of delusion that exists within Sonya, it's amazing to me. Like, it ain't going to be no drama. So you ain't watching none of the Housewives franchises and what happens when they go on these trips? Okay, all right. So then we get Drew and Ralph. Ralph makes a joke about Drew's wig lifted, and it was hilarious. But I'm just like, Drew, Ralph, you didn't have to do your wife like that on camera. Like, you could have clowned her, but don't do it on camera. Like, you'd already told her that she deserved a Lunchable instead of the whole dinner that you get. Okay, Ralph, all right. So, unbeknownst to Drew, Ralph had met with Josiah's biological father, in reference to him adopting Josiah, and she feels blindsided by that, which she should, and is confused because now Ralph is not wanting to adopt Josiah because the biological father will feel away. And I'm not going to dig too deep into this and give it too much of my energy, only because there's some things that I need to know to truly formulate a solid opinion. Like, is old boy, I believe the father's name is Ricky. Is Ricky name on the birth certificate? Does he have any rights as the father? Because if he has no rights as the father and Drew is, the sole, I forget what it's called, but if she has all the rights as the parent, then even though that is a nice courtesy that Ralph gave Ricky, he ain't have to talk to Ricky. It could have just been, hey, I'm letting you know that I'm adopting your son, so he's going to be my son. That's probably the most that you needed to do. But if Drew holds all the cards, and this was an agreement that y'all had, and now you reneging, so this was a reason for you to renege, and I've already said on the panel, chances are he doesn't want to adopt because once you adopt a child, then yes, now that is legally yours, which means if they end up separating, not only is Ralph having to pay child support for the two children they have together, also with Josiah. I'm just saying. So we just gonna move on from there. Actually, wait, is that it? Nope. There's more. Drew lets him know that she needs some understanding. Where you need to talk to, Tamika, Tiny, Tasha, and Candy, because they need understanding too. And I don't know if they got it. Ralph says that she needs to follow his lead, and I'm looking at Drew like, you better don't. Because if you want to follow his lead, you should have followed his ass when he went to Florida. But that ain't none of my business. So Ralph publisher comes by, and he says that he needs to introduce her right because his assistant wasn't introduced right, and that was a whole kerfuffle. You damn right it is. So Drew says, that as a single mother, she was trying to do everything right because there's really no handbook on being a parent, especially because there's different generations and things change over time, so there truly is no particular handbook. But she's going to feel a way about seeing the mistakes that they made collectively, and I think it's more or less just the mistakes that she's made, and now it's in print. So that, and then, because there's always going to be that reminder of the mistakes that were made. And Ralph says, it's bigger than us. Nigga, how? Like, see, now I'm going to have to, give me a second. I'm finna hit pause because I don't know what the hell's going on outside. I know I hear the beep and y'all probably do. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So, but when he says that it's bigger than us, it's like, this would be different if he was just writing a book about his life. And a small piece of that is going to be discussing, his relationship with Drew when it came to co-parenting Josiah. That's one thing. But you have a whole book about being a step parent to Josiah, which means that he's going to play a pivotal role in the narrative in which you are pushing. Because I think Drew's whole thing is, as much as she doesn't want to see her failures in his book, she also doesn't want her child to be exploited. And again, just as I said with Marlo's nephews, how they're going to be able to watch this show back and see all this negative stuff, Josiah's going to be able to pick this book up and read. And it may not be favorable what's in there. So his whole, it's bigger than us. Like, nigga, you can keep that shit. But okay, Drew's way nicer than me. Moving on. The publisher says it's about the fathers. We get that. We do. But it's also about her son. Because if Ralph really wants to, he can write a generalized book that doesn't go into specific details about, being a stepfather, and that will be okay. But again, if you're going to go down this rabbit hole of literally putting her child out there like that, yeah, it's a problem. So Ralph says, she can't read what they have just yet. Because, it's been a process for him, but she can write the foreword. Now, she was taken aback. And again, Drew was way, way too nice. Like, this is what I needed for Chicago to come out of Drew. Like, I believe I think she's South Side. We're not going to get into that because y'all know I'm West Side. And y'all know there's an issue between the South and the West, but we ain't going to do that right now. But I needed that to come out. Because that's one of those, like, you got your nerve. Fuck you, me. But anyway, she says that she doesn't know if she can do it. And I don't know how much between Ralph and Drew is and isn't put on. But in that moment when she said that she couldn't do it and Ralph cut his eyes at her, that was real. Because I think Ralph was just like, oh, really? So, and Ralph is very, very petty, passive aggressive. And Drew's going to pay for that. She's going to pay for that. I'm just letting you know. Let's see what else. Am I missing anything? And then the publisher says Ralph should be on the front of the book, but the family should be on the back of the book. Okay, look, I would have just been like, we don't need to be on and in the book at all, but okay, never. Look, I'm gonna just move on because I done gave them a whole lot. We ain't even got to the other stuff, but again, this was one of those big pieces, so I wanted us to spend some time here. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments. So it's travel day. Ross left his passport, so he has to go back, but he did end up making it on time. But he had to, because they stopped at Marlo's house, or in the vicinity. He had to Uber back to the house, get his passport, Uber to the airport, but he made it. Marlo brought her florist as her +1 because she said she ain't bringing no DICK, which is just like, okay, nobody cares. Sonya asked Kenya where's her +1. They're on the bus, and Kenya's like, yeah, she's sick. And then what's her name? Sonya's cousin. She was like, so you were sick, and now your cousin's sick, and it's why are you on her clit this bad, Sonya? Oh, my thing is, if she really watched the Housewives show, the person that she should have tried to not model herself behind should have been Sheree, because you see what. Anyway, I'm not doing it. Sheree brought Michelle, her friend, but y'all see she ain't brought Futon. And word on the curb is when Futon stole, commandeered, tactically acquired Drew's purse. That was all the reason for Bravo to be like, we don't want her no more. And Futon, you should have saw what happened when Tammy grabbed Keisha's purse, even though production put up to it. I'm just saying, if it ain't yours, keep your hands off of it. Plus, at the same time, if Drew really wanted to, she could have, pressed charges because you're being a thief. You're grabbing something that doesn't belong to you and you're taking it. And then Bravo could be liable. So hey, look, it's all about the money. So let me see. Each room has a gift basket because if I didn't already say they're in Jamaica, each room has a gift basket, which is good, since they're since this is how the trip is being hosted. But then Sonya lets us know that because Kenya's birthday is coming up, she decked her room out with rose petals. Which rose petals? I mean, you couldn't have got her a couple of expensive bottles of some champagne or some liqueur, and I know it's pronounced champagne, but some champagne. And if y'all know the reference of champagne, put it in the comments. But you couldn't have did some rose. All right. So Todd is detoxing from the liquor, which is cool. And what is so interesting is if y'all watch a lot of these reality TV shows, especially with the women, if they decide they don't want to drink, it becomes a huge big thing. I'm glad they just let Todd go, but see, look, like he said, I'm detoxing. And that was the short end of it. Granted, they gonna bust his balls a little bit, but not too much. Kenya meets a man at the Pooza. Pretty much, they're driving to their resort, and in the process of it, there was a guy. I guess he was eyeing Kenya. She was eyeing him, and they kind of double back to see what was popping there. Part of me feels like that was an actor in a sense, but hey, I could be wrong. Again, I'm just throwing it out there, and I'm not saying this because Kenya quote unquote has a track record of hiring people. I'm just saying production probably just planted somebody there for us to have us singing. I don't know, just throwing it out there. And they're in these almost like golf cart things, and Candy's in a separate golf cart, and she mad because she hungry. Like I said early, in reference to Kenya and the trip last year. Ain't nobody finna sit here and dictate when I do and when I don't eat. Let me keep it all the way 1,000, because once we got to the airport, if I was hungry, I would have been like, hey, I'm stopping over here and I'm about to get me something to eat. Oh, we got time to, okay, well, look, I'm finna get it to go, but I'm about to get me something to eat. Okay? But, all right, Candy, we know you hungry, baby. We know you hungry. All right. So, and back to the whole Kenya meeting this man. Sonya was being an aggressive wing woman, but I can appreciate it. Where it's like, let's skip the small talk. Because she asked him, who you here with? He was like, my brother. He was like, no. Are you here with your woman, with your girlfriend, with your fiance, your wife? Who you here with? So I can appreciate that. Let's skip the small talk. Let's get right to the chase. What's going on? Marlo wants to know if Kenya approached the man, if he approached her. And it's who the fuck cares? Like, again, what is this fatal attraction that you have with Kenya? All right. So they go into Sonya's suite. There is food on arrival. 1 second, y'all. All right. My bad. All these distractions. So, yeah. Packages came for me. So, anyway. But, yes, there was food on arrival. Which was good. Because, again, they were kind of getting at her for the food at her little makeshift party that she did for Sheree. So it was good that it was a spread. All that other stuff. She was fishing for compliments, which I can understand. But, hey, whatever. Do you. Sonya gives out the keys and, makes a comment in essence like it pays to be nice to the host. And this is one of those where I ain't finna kiss your ass. I'm gonna keep it all the way 1,000. Okay. Because if this is what you want, trust me when I tell you, I will go ahead and just get my own little room. Because what you're not finna do is you're not finna play with me, play in my face, none of that. We ain't doing that. So you have John, who is the guy that Kenya met. He picks her up from her room, which was a little weird to me. Especially given the fact that I think because the cameras were there, that it was okay, but that's why it feels like this might have been a stunt. Whether it was by her production, I don't know. Because Kenya doesn't give me the type of person that would do that. But at the same time, that also is not a good thing to be presenting to women. That is okay to just have a random person that you just met know exactly where you are staying and have that much direct access to you. Nevertheless, Kenya says, she's never wrong about knowing if a guy's good. And when I tell you Bravo ran in receipts on Walter, was it Matt and Mark? I was like, Bravo's so shitty. But I was here for it. So at the table they grill John, and I mean, I was slightly upset about it because she just met the dude. So obviously she don't have all the answers, and they're grilling him like this, like they're going to be long term. They're grilling him like he and Kenya have been dating for like 3 months or whatever. Like they just met. But I mean, he took it all in stride. That old boy was sweating some of the questions, like, oh Lord, here we go. Good time. So then Sonya asks Marlo about her boys, and Marlo says to her, "Okay, we'll talk about it tomorrow." And my thing is, I feel like because it was mixed company, and she kind of alluded to this later, that she hasn't shared this with everybody that's at the table, more or less just the girls. Probably not a conversation that she wanted to have in front of them. But at the same exact time, we're also shooting the show. So if the question was asked, hey, just roll with it. Okay, you try to see and make somebody else work for their check, work for yours. So then Sheree asks Ralph about the book that he's writing, because Drew told him about it. And he talks about how he claims Josiah as his son. Marlo asks if he's going to adopt him, and Ralph says, not if his father wants to be a part of his life. When he said that, that is when I question, okay, does he have parental rights? Because he says not if the father wants to be a part of his life. Because with him saying that, that must mean that he has no parental rights, which if that's the case, do what's right by your family. And if you don't want to legally be responsible for Josiah, just say that. Just be a man and say that. But don't give this young man any false hope. Don't help create further trust issues with children. Like, don't do that. But anyway, Marlo internalizes this. And this is one thing that can be very, very dangerous when having conversations where things are being said and you internalize it. Because it's no different than when Kenya and Ralph not really got into it, but when Kenya went off on Ralph when they were in New York, because she was internalizing what Ralph was doing to Drew because Mark does it to her. And sometimes when you do that, it puts you in a real messed up headspace. And they had been drinking prior to that and might have already had drinks then. So it could have been that too. But she internalized that. And, because she was a foster child. Now, I want to preface all of this by saying, when you jump into a conversation that ain't got nothing to do with you and you get your feelings hurt, that's your fault. And whatever comes out, comes out. Even if a conversation is being had amongst a group or whatever, if it's clear that it's an A and B, it is what it is. And sometimes you just have to be aware of your delivery and what it is that you're saying. And sometimes probably not the right place or time, because Sheree asked Ralph, right? And they probably should have stayed there. Ralph is explaining to the table, yes. Now, Marlo internalized it. Marlo is now grilling and asking questions. It is at this point that Candy jumps in and pretty much is saying to Marlo that she's thrown off by how hard she's going at them. Like when Marlo is going through is going through her own situation, right? Marlo says, as a foster child, this may be weird to you, but your situation is weird to me. Now, this is right. That was the point where, okay, if we continue, it's just about to go left. And I feel like Marlo was just waiting on the opportunity to just sit here and go at it with Candy, and this is where it went. Now, y'all can argue if whether something was or wasn't below the belt. Y'all can argue that all you want to. But all I'm saying is, in a situation such as this, had Candy just said that ain't her food, we wouldn't be here. At the same exact time, had Marlo said that ain't her food, we wouldn't be here. So I'm just gonna talk about what happened. But I got some. Okay, we just gonna keep on going. And then she says, "Your mother comes before your man." This is what Marlo says to Candy, and this is what really got us started. Now, here's something that y'all need to understand. There's 4 things, okay, that Candy don't play with. Technically, it's 5, but since I'm doing M's, because it's 4 M's, there's technically a 5th thing that kind of ties into it, but I can't think of an M for the family. But you don't play with her man, her mama, her money, or her meals. Those are the 4 M's you don't play with when it comes to Candy Burris. Okay. So the fact that she brought up her mom and her man in the same sentence, and Marlo knows what she was doing. Marlo knew exactly what it was, because it's like, I'm gonna put you between a rock and a hard place, and pretty much get you to a point where you gonna say some stuff where you gonna have to answer to one of those M's when this ish play back, right? And then Candy says, "You don't think it's weird? You sit now." Candy kind of bypassed the whole, mom comes before man comment, but she says, "You don't think it's weird? You sent your boys away and kind of making them feel unwanted." Marlo says no, which I would have stayed right there. Like, why? It would have been, can you expound on that? But Marlon says, "You don't think it's weird that you let your man feel belittled when it comes to your mother?" Again, now she went back to, I'm gonna put both of the M's on both sides. Of you gonna have to pick a lane and go there, right? And Marlo brings up her bringing her family and oh wait. So yeah, so Marlo brings up her bringing, in her family, and Candy says yes, and never gave them away. And Marlo says, "You take care of a man, your family," and it was a take care of a man thing that really got her going. Because if y'all remember, I forget who the guy she was dating when she first came on the show. I forget his name. And it's really no shade, like, because it's not Bly. I cannot remember the guy's name. But Mama Joyce felt a way about him because she felt, okay, Candy, you take care of him, and then y'all know he, tragically passed on, went on to glory. And now you have Todd, and again, Mama Joyce feels a way about Todd. So all of this is truly stemming from Mama Joyce and what Mama Joyce said and how Mama Joyce feels, right? And Candy is just like, "I don't take care of no man." Because she even said, "Your mother tells the truth." And she like, "I don't take care of no man." So then she like, "So you're calling your mother a liar?" Again, I'm sitting here like, Marlo is crafty. She really is. And because Candy is, kind of going at it and literally is only, instead of attack, like, you said this, we're going to stay on this topic before I move on to anything else, is I'm responding to this. Oh, you said something else. Okay, now I'm responding to that. Like, literally, it's just, she's trying to get you off center. And it's crazy because I think Marlo was expecting to get, crackling voice Candy. She didn't get crackling voice Candy. So I think that also kind of threw Marlo off just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. So then Sheree is telling us that she's staying out of this because you have a clip where they do a split screen of Kenya mouthing to Sheree, "That is your friend." Sheree said us, "I am staying out of it." And it's just like, you just never know when to just, be able to hold somebody accountable. But I guess she needs alliances. So Candy says Marlo is trying to get under her skin. Candy, I hate to say it, sweetheart, she succeeded. She has already gotten under your skin. There is no try here. It has already happened. So Marlo is like, "Okay, you know what? All right, I'm in essence, like, I'm gonna stop, right?" Then Todd is visibly upset and disturbed, and he's trying his best to kind of stay out of it because even though he's a topic of conversation, right? This is still between his wife and Marlo. And I'm guessing Todd been seeing how we get. Actually, I never really got on Peter for Peter talking his shit. Everybody else did, but I'm guessing it's just like, okay, I know how this goes, so I'ma just even though my name is being brought up disrespectfully, I'ma just sit here. What messed it up for Marlo is Marlo, because I guess Marlo feel like, okay, even though I'm intoxicated, I'm producing a scene. Okay, I got what I needed. Let me just go ahead and apologize to Todd. So she says to Todd, not really apologize, but says, "Todd, you know I love you." Now you have directly spoken to this man. So now Todd's just like, all right, activate. I bet you Peter Thomas was sitting there watching his TV with a smile on his face, with a drink in his cup, just like, all right, thank you, Todd. Go ahead and carry the reins. Since I can't be on the show, go ahead and do it. And Todd is upset and says to her, like, he's upset that she's sitting here telling these non-truths. And she was like, "Well, what am I lying about? What am I?" And Todd is like, "I know you." Not in the terms of like, I know you, but it's like, I know you, I know your truth, I know your tea. when you came on the show, I was working behind the scenes, so I know all of this. I know that the girls really weren't messing with you like that. That you pretty much had to buy your way into the group, not necessarily bribing production, but I'm assuming what he's saying is using her money to like buy gifts and whatnot. In essence, buying friendships and whatnot on the show because she said I came on through Phaedra. And we all know with most of these shows that many of these women that bring somebody on, they're not truly friends. They either know of this person or production said, hey, you're going to be the anchor to bring this person on. Like with Sonya and Drew. They really didn't know each other. They might have hung out a few times before shooting started. Because we know because Drew said that Sonya was at her mother's birthday party. But they don't really know each other. So yeah, Phaedra might have brought you on. You ain't no Phaedra. And the girls didn't like you. None of them really could stand you. And this is one of those where you have people where I can't stand this person, but because they throw money in the air, I'll tolerate it. Pretty much being users, but that's how people are. So I'm not judging there. But he spilled that too. When I tell you, in essence, a hush came over Marlo's spirit. Because Marlo couldn't really argue with that too much. And because I know a lot of people were saying that Candy cleared Marlo. I don't think she did. I like Candy. I don't think she did. Now, did Todd clear Marlo? Yeah, because the best thing you can do is hit somebody with their realty. And what is so interesting is I'm shocked that even though he didn't go into explicit detail, I'm shocked that Bravo left that in. But I'm guessing if there was an NDA in place, I guess the time had lapsed. Or Todd just said, you know what, effing, since you addressing me, let me go ahead and get you together for my wife. Because you're not going to sit here and talk about my wife like this. And I can appreciate Todd, being 10 toes down for his wife. Go ahead, Todd. Or as Erica De Niro says, Todd Burris, go ahead. So now Marlo and Candy go back at it. Because again, she can't go toe-to-toe with Todd. And she pretty much says to Candy, like, you're only known in Atlanta. Now, Marlo. Let's not get to lying, baby. Let's not do that. Because the whole thing is, I'm worldwide, and the truth is, she is. She is. Look, let's be clear. I've made it, like, I'm from the Chi. Y'all know this. I'm actually back in the Chi. Bred, born, and raised here, right? I knew Candy before Real Housewives of Atlanta. To be honest, I didn't start watching Real Housewives of Atlanta until season 2, and that's only because Candy was on here. So I started watching the entire Housewife franchise, but Atlanta in particular because of Candy. So I knew her well before this. You know what I'm saying? And yes, she has music that spans world passes. And even if you don't know Candy per se, you know her catalog. So I'm just like, Marlo. And then John and up and dipped. Now, Magnetica, she there, her husband, I think his name was Heath. When I tell you, he was enjoying every minute of this sparring match. And you have Sonya, fake being outraged, but there's moments where she's laughing like, you don't feel that outrage. You really don't. But she gets the table to calm down. Fake apologies are made, and then that's the end of the episode. So we're going to have a lot to go. Oh, and one thing, see, and I'm going to just say this. Candy, come here. Candy, I love you. But you too nice. And I say this about a lot, even people that I mess with, I'm like, y'all just too nice, because I am not. Like, when I tell you, you fuck around with me when I tell you that we are going all the way to fuck to hell. Okay, not only do I own a timeshare down there, I have property down there. Like, I have no problems with going there. We can be there for a motherfucking extended stay. Because and again, you have Marlo saying, let's not bring up the kids, but you bring up the kids, right? And not just that, you brought her mom into this. Now, if Marlo wanted to, she could have just kept it with Candy and her nephews or cousins that she had brought in, but you brought in her mom and her man. When I tell you, I would have been like, why are you talking about my mother, who is very present? How about your mother, who is non-existent, non-present? How about your foster mothers that gave your ass back, since we want to talk about mamas? Okay, since I would have and before anybody says, yeah, that's fucked up, we not gonna see him pretend as if Marlo didn't come for Kenya's mom. Oh, but I would have went there. Oh, my thing, like when I look, I make it clear all the time. You fuck with me, I don't care. I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about your daddy died from cancer. I'm going to talk about your mother that's in the grave. I'm going to talk about the fetus that's in your damn stomach. Don't fuck with me. If you do, and for those that know that I will go there, you fuck with me knowing this, it is what it is. It's a wrap. And you can call me Val, Nasty, everything. Look, I done told everybody, my name is Lucifer. You can, AKA Lucy, Morningstar, whatever the fuck you want to call me. I am that dude. Don't fuck with me. And that would have been me on that trip. But whatever, that's enough because I didn't keep y'all here longer than what I thought I would. So that's it, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed. Okay, the shenanigans will continue definitely tonight back here at the Citadel, but you will actually see my face then, just not right now. So yes, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure that you all watch the reviews from all the other people that are on the panel. Make sure you check their reviews and whatnot out because some of them cut. Terrence cut. He cut the food. Terrence cut the fool. He cuts Marlo smooth the hell out. But y'all make sure y'all check those reviews out, and then also be back here later on tonight at 9:15 Eastern, 8:15 Central, because we're gonna be live. It's gonna be popping over here. So I love you all. Y'all have a fantastic day, and if I don't see y'all tonight, a fantastic evening and week. And I'm out. Peace.